back with another episode of the Topless Rambler, and today's episode is going to be about I briefly touched on it on last episode, but law of attraction, something I've sort of been very keen on for the past 3 years maybe, and there's a lot of people that can explain this a lot better than me, but I thought I'd just give my take on it. And if you are interested, there's loads of people that if you could just go onto YouTube, type in law of attraction, who really go into depth of how it all works. But the basic principles of it really is it's the power of visualization. So it's whatever you can clearly see in your mind, and like you manifest it into reality. So there's a hell of a lot of famous people and idols and people who are at the top of the game who use this, which you wouldn't even know about unless you studied it. But a few of the examples that I give, one of the big ones who I'm a massive fan of is Conor McGregor. He is a big fan of law of attraction. Numerous times he's said what he's going to do in a fight, and it's word by word. Like, it's scary when I go into and research about it, but it's scary how well he's manifested his life. He knew that he was going to be a UFC double champion. He said it, he put it out there everywhere, told everyone, and he manifested it because he believed in it so clearly. Like, he could see it, he already thought he was champion. And it's so, like, the way it sort of works, because he's putting that vibe out there in his head all the time, he believes it, his subconscious brain. So even when he's not thinking about it, his subconscious brain is, every action that he's doing is an action towards that goal. So there's a lot of people. Another one, Muhammad Ali, he said he was the greatest ever. Even before he'd done his first professional boxing match, he said he's the greatest ever, and we all remember him as the greatest ever. Another amazing one, there's a few videos on YouTube about this, I'd definitely watch it, is Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, actually, before all the acting, he knew what he wanted to do, so he wrote himself a cheque for £10 million, and he dated it 5 years. And it's scary how this actually happened. I think the day before that he dated it, he actually got a cheque for £10 million from some film that he was doing. But the way that it all worked for them is because they believed in it so clearly in the mind, that the subconscious brain and every action that they did was towards that. So you can use this in so many principles in your life, but probably a couple of examples that I use, or that a lot of people use, and I'm sort of re-saying, is have you ever noticed that when you get a new car, you see everyone about driving the car? Because you've got that car, it's in your mind then. So because that's in your mind, you start to see it. Like, if you could buy a new pair of shoes, you start to see a pair of shoes. A great example, I once watched a video, was if someone dangled an apple in front of your head, because it's in front of you all the time, your first thought when it came to food would be eat an apple. Or if someone asked you what colour, name a colour, you'd say a red apple. Or you'd say red. Because that, so you take that same principle. If you have a thought in your head all the time, every single action is sort of towards that, without even you knowing a lot of the time. But another example I'd use, which I don't know if this is just me or it's just sad, but it's definitely, this is the law of attraction working. Like, I've seen pictures that I've wanted, say I've gone somewhere on a holiday or something, I've seen pictures in my mind that I wanted to take and put on Instagram, and the picture is so similar to how I actually pictured it. And for me, that's law of attraction, really. So but it's definitely something that can really change your mindset, change your whole outlook on life. It can bring you anything you want if you really study it and really believe in it. It's not, a lot of people think that if you just think about earning £1 million, that it's going to happen. You need to actually clearly believe in it and clearly put that to work and be obsessed about it. Probably law of attraction is obsession. If you really clearly believe that that's where you're going to be, that's what you want to do, and you're obsessed about it, and every single thought about it is that, you can probably manifest almost anything you want, really, within reason. But there's a lot more people that talk better about it than me, but I just thought I'd give my sort of take on it, and I'd really look up the people I mentioned, like LeBron James, he's a big believer in it, Will Smith, John Jones started writing himself as UFC champion, signing things off even before he was. There's so many examples. So yeah, that's my take on it. Another glorious day on the ramble. Hope everyone's well and surviving through lockdown, and have a nice day.